Good morning to Central and Granada viewers. It's the big event in Las Vegas, so here is how they've been selling it over there in Las Vegas.
We're in Las Vegas, Nevada for two heavyweight title fights. First, Tony Tucker faces James Buster Douglas for the vacant IBF crown. Michael Spinks refused to fight mandatory challenger Tony Tucker and was stripped of his IBF title. Tucker earned his #1 ranking with a 12-round unanimous decision over James Broad. The opponent, James Buster Douglas. His biggest win, a 10-round decision over former WBA champion Greg Page. And then, WBA, WBC heavyweight champion Mike Tyson tries to make a better show of it than that embarrassment of last March. You'll see a different side of a heavyweight champion. Mike Tyson's dedicated commitment to those less fortunate. The challenger is former WBC champion Pinklin Thomas, whose hard road back to this title shot is wrought with controversy. Two determined fighters trying to reestablish their dominance in the heavyweight division. A 20-year-old freight train meets a 29-year-old former champion given his last chance for glory. Mike Tyson meets Pinklin Thomas right here.
And that Tyson-Thomas fight will be coming up on your screens in just about an hour's time, but we can go straight live to Las Vegas now for the vacant IBF heavyweight title. It's between the unbeaten Tony Tucker and James Buster Douglas. Our commentators at the Hilton, Jim Watt and Reg Guttridge.
Good morning then to the viewers in the Central and the Granada areas. It's Reg Guttridge here at ringside in Las Vegas, and my verbal sparring partner Jim Watt is with me. We're just waiting now in seconds as the sun starts to set, and I'm pleased to say the heat's died down because it really is tough for the fighters, as Barry McGuigan knows. James Buster Douglas, Tony TNT Tucker for the vacant IBF, International Boxing Federation Championship, scheduled for 15. But you know what it is with heavyweights. Buster at 16 stone 3, Douglas, and 15-12, and here's Chuck Hull.
International Boxing Federation ringside this evening is that body's president, Mr. Bobby Lee of New Jersey, and supervising for that body is Mr. Al Goodman from the state of Florida. The officials assigned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for the next event of the night. The judges are Chuck Giampa of Las Vegas, Nevada, Ed Levine of Miami, Florida, and Glenn Hamada of Seattle, Washington. The timekeeper is James Broadfoot. Counting at the knockdowns, Mike Flichella, and your referee is Mills Lane. This is the semi-main event of the evening. 15 rounds of boxing for the IBF Heavyweight Championship of the World. Introducing in the blue corner, fighting out of Columbus, Ohio, weighing in at 227 1/4 pounds, with a professional record of 23 wins, 3 defeats, 1 draw, 1 no decision, with 15 KOs. He's ranked #2 in the world by the IBF. Ladies and gentlemen, here is James Buster Douglas. And in the red corner, from Houston, Texas, weighing 222 1/4 pounds. His professional record consists of 33 wins, no defeats, 1 no decision, with 28 KOs. He is rated #1 by the IBF. Here is heavyweight Tony Tucker.
So Mills Lane then, the referee from Reno, Nevada, works in the State Department lawyer's office there, and calling them together. And the rundown on the statistics there, for what it matters. Just notice the height of these guys. And 227 1/4, that's 16-3, 15-12, the other one. Big man. Well, he's calling him Mr. the referee. Little fella, isn't he, among those two there? So a great backdrop there. First time that I've seen TNT Tucker as a pro. He was a brilliant amateur. Here's Douglas with his dad there, Bill Douglas, who fought Bunny Sterling at the Royal Albert Hall back in '71. So we'll find out now whether Tucker has really got it in the opening round then. So in the white trunks, Buster Douglas from Columbus, Ohio, a very useful tradesman indeed. But Tucker's the one with the reputation, and he's come in, of course, as favourite from Grand Rapids, Michigan, but trains now out of Texas, and got him more or less his own training camp there. It's sponsored, and all kinds of people seem to have managed him, but his father and himself are officially his managers, apparently. So there we go now, see if it'll help him. Very good amateur indeed. A little bit wasted in the pros, despite that long winning run. He was a bit carefully managed. You couldn't really judge that. But beating James Broad was a good performance, and that put him into the vacant IBF championship that was stripped from Michael Spinks. But I've seen Douglas quite a bit. He's a very capable fighter, and for an underdog, I wouldn't mind taking some of the odds at. So the sun now just setting nicely so that the boxers don't have that problem of facing the sun. Good stand-up boxer, Tucker. And as he said, many ways, lucky to be alive. He was due to go with that American team that crashed an airplane in Poland back in 1980, but got off the plane at New York and went home, and said I still feel the effects of losing all my pals on that one. So two very capable boxers indeed. Douglas didn't do much as an amateur and has been found wanting at times, they tell me, in training, but his father assures me he's got him in good shape for this one. Defeated Greg Page, James Douglas, so it gives you an idea of his class. A lot of money's been invested in Tucker over the years now. Mrs. Abercrombie, the millionaires in Texas, has sponsored him. Well, he's had a long winning run, Tucker, Jim, but he's got a good tradesman in front of him as we come up to the end of this round. I see the clock there.
Yeah, well, as you said, he hasn't really been tested yet at top level, but he's certainly going to be tested tonight. This is a good sharp, a good fast pace for a 15-rounder. Already Tucker looks to be quite a shrewd counter-puncher.
Second round then of this IBF version of the heavyweight championship, and a good smart start there, some good stand-up boxing. Makes a change, Jim, to see this sort of quality boxing at this big fellas like this, not lunging at one another.
Yeah, well, it's nice to see we've also got rid of some of the fat heavyweights we've been seeing in recent years. They're both big, but they're both looking good shape and nice and trim, muscular looking.
Douglas has been knocking up the door quite a bit. He's disappointed on a few occasions. That's been his trouble, but I think looks as though he's got his mind in good order for this one. And if Tucker's been believing his own publicity a bit too much, he might be in for a rude shock here. As an amateur, Tucker was a little bit flashier than this, Jim, but I think he realises he's got to be sensibly professional here tonight.
Yeah, well, he certainly has good concentration. He's hardly blinked since the first bell. He hasn't really an American style. It's very straight, stand-up style he has. But as long as the fight's at this range, I think it should suit Tucker. Douglas is obviously going to have to find a way past the long stiff jab and they get to work at close range.
He decided not to throw that right hand, didn't he? He showed it there to Douglas and then pulled it back. He wants him to be accurate. That's smart thinking on Tucker's part. Three American judges should this go the distance. Referee doesn't score. The three knockdown rule, which means if either boxer goes down in the same round, it does not count in the IBF rules. Could be stopped after one knockdown or three or four. Oh, came right out on top of us there. Well, I tell you, I've heard of having a foot in my mouth, Jim, but that was quite a foot to take.
How's your leg playing? Did you hurt it when you went down there? No. That's all right. Wait a minute.
Let's have a look at that replay now, Jim.
Yeah, well, that was a real sign of aggression from Douglas, but I don't think he was troubled by any punches or anything.
Now, as he went back, we get our overhead cam. You notice that foot comes out, as I say, nearly knocked my gum shield out, that did. And the doctor did check with him that he's okay. Into round three. And we'll re-identify there. The white trunks is James Buster Douglas from Columbus, Ohio. And against Tony Tucker, 6'5", trains out of Texas. Well, the smart money was on Tucker, Jim. I should think they're a little bit concerned at this stage. Douglas is boxing as well as I've ever seen him anyway.
Yeah, and he caused Tucker to lose his composure a little bit just at the beginning of this round. He caught him with a nice right hand and Tucker grabbed hold of him round the waist, shook him up a little bit, but hasn't seriously hurt him. I gave him something to think about.
Douglas quite likes boxing. He had 2 wins in Las Vegas last year. Some sharp right hands coming in from both of them there. Good counter punch by Tucker as Douglas laid in.
Douglas is getting a little bit closer to Tucker now.
I imagine our viewers, Jim, could be a little bit surprised, as you say, the flabby heavyweights we've been seeing lately. These fellas could be lightweights the way they're boxing with the skills.
Yeah, I don't think anybody enjoys seeing any athletes who are vastly overweight, and we've had too many fat heavyweights in recent years. So I'm enjoying looking at a couple of good athletes tonight.
Long way to go, and it's a fair pace too.
Well, as I said, Douglas is getting a little bit closer and he's troubled Tucker a couple of times with good sharp punches.
We've often said that, you know, you look at an unbeaten record, it's not always the amount of wins, it's who he's fought. That's the important thing. trying to read each other a little bit now. They're trying to feint and draw a lead. There you can see it there. Into round 4. And James Douglas, the shorter of the two, actually, according to the statistics, has a longer reach, which rather surprises me. But you see, he weighed 17 stone 7 when he defeated Randy Cobb back in '84, Douglas. Came in 16-3 for this one. Well, you can, it's a bit obvious there. Old Mills Lane likes to hear the sound of his old voice. He's good at that. Keep him up. But they're wearing the obligatory foul-proof protectors, but nonetheless they can be disqualified for persistent fouling. It doesn't have to hurt the opponent. Well, Tucker came in with a reputation of being a master of the left jab, but he's getting out jabbed a bit. He's really fancying it now, Douglas, isn't he?
Yeah, well, it's the type of fight he was hoping for. I think he probably expected Tucker to be a lot more mobile and pin him on the end of the jab, but he's getting into range a lot quicker than he probably thought he would, so he'll be quite happy at this stage.
Neither of them been over the 15-round course. If it were a poor fight, you could admire the scenery here. You can see the Sierra Mountains in the back of Nevada. It really is a tremendous setting. Good variety of punches there. Tucker leads with the left hand, tries to shoot the uppercut through there.
Tucker's trying to back Douglas up a bit now, and it's a slightly different fight when he manages to do that. I think Douglas is the type of fighter, to be effective, he has to come forward. And I don't know if Tucker has tumbled to that, but he's trying to push him back here.
I didn't think that one warranted stopping for that, Jim. Did you, that punch?
No, it landed in the hip. It was below the belt, but it landed in the hip. It wasn't a dangerous area. I think the referee could have left that one out.
Sort of contest, I think, where he can be part of the crowd, the referee, and stand off and enjoy it.
Can I have your attention, please? Joe Sleepy. Joe Sleepy, report to the Southeastern
Which one?
Joe Sleepy, Southeastern visual corner of the ring, please.
You too damn tight. You gotta loosen yourself up. Loosen yourself up, son. Don't fight the jab. Loosen it up. And what you do is start doubling the jab, not single, then double it.
Well, there it is, as I say, a picturesque setting indeed, isn't it? The way they can just build these arenas as they want here in Las Vegas, whether it be up the road at Caesars Palace or at Hilton, which has actually been promoting more heavyweight fights lately than any other one.
Face this thing, just don't stand and box with him, you gotta break him out. Okay? You think you can pull out on him? He jab. He's doing sometimes, right?
Into the 5th round. And the underdog there, Buster Douglas, although not so Buster on this occasion. It's been a lot more rotund than this in recent fights. doing quite well, I think. It's really surprised me. I thought Tucker would be too rangy for him and smart with the left hand, but he's had difficulty getting through. He's been a little bit tight, and his cornermen have told him that too, Tucker, loosen up a bit. Matter of fact, Jim, one of the rules at the rules meeting, they made Tucker promise that he'd come in with dry hair. That the stuff they used to keep those curls going had to be wiped off. Another thing you've got to worry about in this game. There you go now. As Douglas is obeying his dad's orders from the corner there to crowd in. He said, don't try and outbox him. Get inside that long reach.
Oh, all right. We'll step back clean. Clean break. Attaboy.
Like that right-hand counter punch, Jim. It's short and sharp from Tucker, isn't it?
Yeah, he seems always ready to let the counter spring out. He just carries his head a little bit high. Well, we're not used to seeing that with American heavyweights. Normally they're tucked down a little bit into the shoulders, but he's carrying his head very high. And Douglas a few times has been catching him with right-hand leads.
Yeah, I think he's showing off the hairdo at this stage, and he may regret it.
Clean, go to clean. One step clean. Okay.
There it is again. He tries to chop that punch down, Tucker. But he gets it back from Douglas. That was an even better shot, and he just tottered a bit with that. Now this fella, remember, 34 unbeaten, hasn't been even seriously troubled until now. Now the punches are definitely getting harder now. They're really getting close enough. As we get the countdown then for the 5th.
Now get off that neck, come on.
So no rabbit punches or get off that neck. Well, a very calm and collected corner, this one, I must say, with Tucker. Old Luther Burgess there goes right back to fighting Willie Pep. Let's have a look at replay on that one, Jim.
That was a good right-hand punch from Douglas. It caught Tucker a little bit high on the forehead, but certainly stunned him. He lost his footing for a couple of seconds. Good punch, and the first time either of them have been troubled.
And the overhead view, you see, there it is, bingo, downward shot there. And then the left hook on the side of the head, and he really was in a bit of bother. They did well to stand up.
Reagan, changing your punches, we're doing the same thing.
Don't wait.
Go in the circle. We don't expect you. Pull back when you expect it. When you punch it, sometimes go forward. Punch. Relax. Okay.
Into the 6th round then, scheduled for 15, remember. International Boxing Federation version of the championship. That's a mainly American formed. They did it because they rather resented the WBC and WBA big brass was in South America. Well, I said from the start, Jim, that Douglas would give this fellow all the trouble he could handle, and it looks as though he's going to do it.
Yep, I think Tucker's going to have to think about something else. He's going to have to change his tactics. The fight he's been using so far is suiting Douglas. He's letting him get too close. He's not using the physical advantages he has.
Amazing thing about the majority of the top American heavyweights, they absorb a punch so well. That's really why they all seem to do that. There's no actually brittle chin guys among them in the top 10. ropes are looking a bit slack there. I suppose at 6 feet 5 and 15 stone 12, they're entitled to sink a little bit, but they look as though they could be tightened to me.
Watch the head, come on.
He's doing well to take a few chances, Douglas. He doesn't want to stand there and try and out-jab him, does he?
That's what he has to do. He has to get close. I'm surprised that he's managed to get into range so quickly in the fight. But I think a lot of that is due to the fact Tucker's not boxing the fight. He should be boxing. But Douglas is going through a nice little spell at the moment.
And we're almost in there with them with that corner camera. I think Tucker's really realising now he's got to start putting a few more punches together to try and stop this fellow in his tracks a bit. He's certainly got a good range of punches, Tucker, but he's posing a little bit.
You're starting to feel you ain't got second wind yet, Kevin. You still this still going.
Now let's have a look at that. You see, there comes the uppercut from Tucker, but right away Douglas made him back off with that one. Jim?
Yeah, Douglas threw a lot of good punches in that round. That was a good round for Douglas. I think he'll be quite happy with himself.
Well, we can see it coming, of course, but he gets caught square a little bit, Tucker. Feet together.
Weight on him, taking away.
Turn your head this way. I get the sound.
Pop it good, right hand, left hook, break right back in again with it.
Step into the guy.
The step with the jab.
Round 7. And some really smart heavyweight boxing we're getting here for a change, not the crash bash stuff that often passes for boxing. Well, the way it's going, the American judges may have a job sorting this one out, but of course one punch can turn the whole thing, and often does. The least predictable of all sportsmen are the heavyweights. He's trying to get into some rhythm going there, Douglas. Favourite with American fighters, they do this. They stand and loosen up in the middle of the ring and try and get some rhythm going. Best old-fashioned 1-2 punches I've seen for a long time by both fighters, but particularly Douglas here. The left hand followed by the right hand, Jim.
Well, any success that Douglas has had has been with double punches or 2, 3, 4 punches. When he stands off and tries to single jab with Tucker, then he gets out jabbed. So he should really stick with this, move in behind the punches and double them up.
Okay, let's get back clean. Get back, here we go. Get him up, come on, Charlie.
Oh, there's some oohs and ahs coming from the crowd there, including 1 or 2 famous faces around the ring as usual. few times I've seen Douglas, he hasn't been great on staying power. Now I wonder how it's going to be in the second half of the fight, Jim.
Yeah, well, Tucker has started to drive Douglas back again, and as far as he's concerned, that's good tactics. Because as we've seen, Douglas is very effective when he's coming forward, letting the punches go, and he's also taking the sting out of Tucker's punches. So now Tucker's trying to drive him back, and will certainly help his cause quite a bit.
Into round 8. And a really good pace this for big fellows, you know. Good smart boxing. When I say pace, you don't need to have fast footwork in the heavyweights, but they're quite mobile, and their punch pace has been good. As you say, Jim, Tucker's very orthodox, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not what I expected at all. He's actually like a British fighter, the way he stands up and sticks out the kind of stiff punches. You know, he doesn't seem to have the natural rhythm that we expect from the Americans.
You can see now why he was definitely one of the best amateurs in the world, and had the United States not boycotted the Moscow Olympics, I think he was a big favourite to have won a gold medal there. Which all turned out a bit of a waste of time in the end, and upset a great many amateur boxers and indeed amateur athletes. A little bit more concern, I would have thought, in Tucker's corner by their reaction. Douglas's people seem pretty content the way their man's going. But I'm a bit concerned for him on the staying power. But then, as I say, he's got into much better shape for this one than many previous fights. Some years ago in Chicago, he actually got a draw with Stefan Tankstead of Norway. Well, that's first sort of clinching and roughness we've seen in 8 rounds, Jim.
Yeah, well, it's been a fair old pace, and we're now getting towards the hard part of the fight. But Tucker's trying to put a little more power into his punches now. He's trying to move in behind the punches.
Both got a fair bit of firepower. I mean, Tucker stopped 29 of his opponents and Douglas 15 of his 23. That's 23 wins, of course. You can't stop them if you lose.
Where's my eye off? Got some shit in my eye. Close it up, man. No, I do the Vaseline or something.
Oh, so you put the Vaseline on the eye?
Yeah.
On the bottom.
Yeah, but
It was on my eye last time.
Both hands. You gotta work both hands, Doc. But the guy, yes, then he never been hurt.
Try to count it. Round 9. And as the sun really set now, we're actually getting a bit of wind coming up now. Good straight punches again by Tucker, but he just doesn't vary it enough, Jim, does he?
No, he doesn't have as good a variety of punches as Douglas. But he's a different fighter altogether when he moves forward and backs Douglas up. And I think it's time for him really to start trying to do that. He's been standing off far too much, and even in the close rounds, it means Douglas is looking the busier.
He's using his reach there, Douglas. As I said, he's just a bit longer reach. Surprisingly enough, the taller man you would think's got the longer reach, but apparently hasn't. He doesn't always lean in with the punch, Tucker, does he? He tends to be slightly arm punches. Hard enough, mind you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's actually two different fighters. When he steps in and moves in behind the punches and drives them home, he has far more success because he's pushing Douglas back. But too often he's just sticking out the punches and Douglas is coming straight through them.
A little bit puffed around the right eye, Tucker, but certainly nothing to worry about. Neither of them really are showing the bruises of battle. Well, that was a bit saucy, turning to southpaw and leading a couple of right jabs. So there you are, threatening to take a point away there, Jim.
Yeah, a couple of the punches of, yeah, I think he's going to do that now.
One more time, it's going to cost you a point. One more time, okay? Come on.
So there, well, it's very firm refereeing that.
You go forward and start punching. He cannot defense against 3, 4, 5, 6 punches. Off the chair.
Okay.
He punch you, punch right back.
Exactly like Dan said, push him back with 3 or 4 punches.
See that man just there.
You see what you Now what you want to do, Tony, is take over the fight. Push him back, then break it in. My beat, my beat.
Short overhand right.
Into the 10th round then of this heavyweight championship for the vacant IBF version. Stripped from Michael Spinks, who would refuse to fight this #1 contender, who was Tucker. But at this stage of the fight, I would have thought maybe Douglas is just a bit in front. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah, I would say Douglas is slightly in front. He's always looked to busier. He's looked to be the boss more often than Tucker. Tucker's corner men were telling him it's now time to get control of the fight, and I agree with that. If he wants to win the title, he's going to really have to push himself forward and get to grips with it. He's a little bit one-paced at the moment.
That's a good punch, Jim. A kind of left-hand uppercut almost there. He started that with.
That's a good
Tucker.
right hand he come back with too. That one shook Douglas up. That was a good right hand.
Yeah, well, when he said take over the fight, Luther Burgess, the trainer to Tony Tucker, he wasn't kidding. He may well have done here, and he needs to pull it back a bit. Oh, he's got Douglas going now, and he's got plenty of time to do it in the 10th. And let's see if he's a good finisher. He's taken his time to get there, but it's now the mark of a good champion if he can stop this fellow, and it looks as though he's going to. Mills Lane primed to dive in, and it's all over. There it is, midway through the 10th round. And Jim Watt and I thought this fellow was just a bit behind, and that's the mark of a champion, Jim, when they can pull out the punches that matter.
And that's the first chance he's had to really take over the fight, and he grabbed it with both hands. A nice little left-hand uppercut started the trouble, and they come back with a cracking right-hand punch bang on the chin, and I don't think Douglas ever recovered from that. He saw his chance, and he went, and he took his chance.
And he's kneeling on the floor there with his sequin gown there, Tony Tucker. Besieged by fans as jumping in the ring, so he just knelt on the floor there as though he was praying. But he's now won the IBF version of the heavyweight title. So the doctors, Flip Romansky, the Nevada State doctor. We'll look at the finish of this one, Jim, again, the replay. That was the right hand that you reminded me of there, and certainly Douglas wishes you'd reminded him of it. I think that it was coming.
I was a little bit surprised with Douglas. At a time when his defences should have been tightened up, he just seemed to go onto the ropes and try to sway out of trouble. He should either have got his hands up nice and tight. See, he's not throwing any worthwhile punches here, so either he should have grabbed the hold of Tucker or covered up, but he just seemed to sway in the ropes. Did neither.
Praise the Lord, he's shouting out there, Tucker. And, well, I did say early on I was a bit concerned about Buster Douglas's, or James Douglas's, staying power. And he just broke up underneath that punch there. Brilliant exhibition early on. But this fellow, as they say, his record's no phony, is it? 35 now on the turn, and he stops 30 of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time, 1 minute, 36 seconds of the 10th round. Referee Mills Lane stops the bout. The winner by TKO and new IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Tony Tucker.
Well,